All right. What up, Michigan? Is it too early for you? Sounds good. I'll just tire myself out and then we'll get started. So, good morning to all of you. We are AmeriCollect from Ridiculously Nice Collections. Today, what we just wanted to do is spend a little bit of time going over the real life world of work, customer service, sales, a call center, and really help you as you kind of figure out what you want to do in life. Whether it is immediately go to college or work for a couple of years, or work, as you go to college, which a lot of people do these days. So, before we get into more about us, why don't the three of us introduce ourselves so that way you get a little bit to know we're actually taking you through today. So we've got the three families. So I'll pass it over to my colleague Kylie.
Good morning, everyone. So, as Travis previously stated, my name is Kylie. I am the recruiter, or one of the recruiters for AmeriCollect. So, some things about me professionally: my job is to find new employees, interview them, and complete orientation once they've started, and kind of get them ready for their journey here at AmeriCollect. I also kind of help Travis and Lindsey and their teams sometimes retain talent. I've been doing this for a few years now. Some things about me personally: I enjoy pretty much anything outdoors, except for anything in winter. A huge Packer fan, and I'm a mom to two cute puppies and a beautiful baby girl.
Very good. So as Kylie said, she is the recruiter. So she actually works with individuals who apply for these positions, and then she actually, works with them, gets the interviews, and after somebody gets hired for their role, that's where my team and I come in. So my name is Travis. My role here at AmeriCollect is operations training and quality manager. So I oversee our training and quality program. I'm also the one who, oversees all of you as you get through your life cycle of work. A little bit outside of work itself. I'm into hockey, rugby, sports. I play guitar, and there's a picture of my little boy. His name is Larkin, so dad, and then my two animals. But ultimately, in your job itself, as you go through my curriculum, you make sure that everything that you're supposed to know, you're ready to know when the time comes to start doing your job. And then once my team and I determine you're not a liability and you're able to do all the competencies, we transfer you over to Lindsey's world.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us. My name is Lindsey Palomino. I'm the operations manager for the call center at AmeriCollect. I've been with AmeriCollect a little over 8 years now. A little bit about me: I'm a mom and a wife. My favorite thing to do is cook and try out new recipes that I see online. Professionally, I've been in customer service all of my career since I started working. And like I said, I joined AmeriCollect in the call center. I've worked in a few different positions, but most recently in the management role. So that's a little bit about us. And now I want to tell you a little bit about AmeriCollect. So who are we? AmeriCollect, we're a collection agency. We specialize in medical collections. We're located right in Manitowoc, and we've been in business for over 57 years. You can see on this screen a few things that are really important to us, like our purpose statement and our core values. These are things that we live and breathe every day. I'm sure you've maybe heard about AmeriCollect and that we're ridiculously nice collections. That's our tagline, but that's also what we live and breathe every single day. We believe in being respectful and kind to our patients, to our clients that we work for, and then also our teammates. So that's a little bit about us. Something that sets us apart from other companies, though, in the area is our amazing culture. So some of the cool things that we've been up to recently, you can see in the pictures, we do a lot to give back to the community. We have groups that work together to go to nursing homes and do Christmas caroling for the elderly to bring a little Christmas spirit to them. We adopt a highway. We do multiple things for the Humane Society locally, but we also have a lot of fun while we're working as well. In some of these pictures, you can see we do dress up for Halloween, Twin Day. We watch baseball and football up on the big screen when it's playing during work hours so that we can cheer on our favorite sports teams. And we do all of that while we're hitting goals and doing a great job. Another fun thing that AmeriCollect offers is up to a $6,500 bonus every 3 years just for doing your job. It's a cool incentive that not a lot of other businesses offer, but it's something fun that we can do to set ourselves apart too.
Can I ask, because we can see a few of you, have any of you, by raise of hand, have any of you heard of AmeriCollect before? Okay, couple of you, awesome. And then my other question before we get going is, how many of you actually have a job where you have had to interview? It's an employer. It's not like doing babysitting for the neighbors or, doing work around the house for mom and dad. Do any of you actually have a job? Okay, cool. Looks like a couple of you do. So good for you. You're already well ahead of the game here, because you've kind of interviewed and you know what the process is like. Isn't it a bummer when you get your first paycheck and that whole tax line is there and they take all that money out for taxes? But I see. I think it's a nice young lady in the about middle glasses. So right, doesn't that suck when all of a sudden the tax person comes in and takes the money out of there? Yeah. But anyway, so those of you who don't have a job or maybe are potentially thinking about it, or maybe you're not really sure where to start. So we're going to give you some ideas and tactics. But the main thing that I just want to be clear here is we're just giving you advice. All right. We're not here to lecture you. We're all parents. So sometimes we get into the now junior. Okay. That's not the objective. All right. All we want to do is just give you some advice of how it works with us and how it works in the real world and help you to at least get yourself set up for success. All right. So a couple things that we're just briefly going to touch on from our professional experience. Kylie's going to go over finding a job and catching their eye because again, she's in recruiting, so she deals with this stuff all the time. She's also going to go over a little bit about interviewing, and Lindsey and I will do just a brief mock interview where we'll answer some questions for her. Lindsey and I are going to tag team together to discuss what we expect as managers when you do get hired, how to get yourself off on the right foot, as opposed to being on a list of someone that we're always keeping an eye on. A little bit about life experience, and then we actually have what's called a youth apprentice program. Essentially, what it means is you can potentially get out of school for parts of your day to come work with us, and we'll pay you. We have a few people that do that now and they very much enjoy it. They get real life experience. They still go to school and still get all of the knowledge they need, but they actually get real life application and they get paid for it. So the first things first, when someone tells you get a job, right? You're expected just to get a job and you have to kind of figure that out from there. So Kylie, I'm going to pass it over to you and why don't you help them understand a few steps, where to start, how to actually go about finding a job.
Okay. So, as Travis previously stated, I am the first point of contact with a business. So in this case, AmeriCollect. So when people apply, they will talk to me first before they make it into the building or virtual building. So to find a position, there's a lot of different routes you can go. For more virtual routes, you can go through job boards, so websites like ZipRecruiter, CareerBuilder, and Indeed.com. A great resource these days is social media. Now that is something that just keeps growing and growing, you can find companies on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, pretty much any social media platform. The majority of those routes you're able to apply. So that's a great route. And then just to kind of go old school, you can go the more personal route. Word of mouth, going through your school, maybe teachers or youth apprentice coordinators, parents, friends, and even in some cases, you can actually walk to their front door. That might be more slim right now because of COVID, but still something to think about, that it's an option.
I would just like to make mention when it comes to social media. Keep in mind that Facebook, a lot of times, if you don't have very specific private settings, especially if you have a front profile page photo, any employer or anyone who's hiring for a job can very easily go to Facebook and type in your name and see some of the stuff that's being posted. Okay, I know that all of you are still, in high school, but as you start to get into like the college age and you start getting into, a little bit um, after your high school days, just know that whatever you post on there, generally employers and people can see that stuff. So just think about that when you're posting something up on these platforms.
Definitely. Great point.
So Kylie, where can I capture all of my brilliance on just one page?
So as you can see in the slideshow, a resume. So now that you found the employer and they sold you on their company and wanting to work for them, it's time for you to try to sell yourself to them. So to do that, you want to create a professional looking resume. And when you're in a more professional setting, you might even want to consider adding a cover letter. For you, though, since many of you, this would be your first job, you might not have to go that professional. But some things to consider for your resume are going to be things like grammar, putting in details as far as your position, what you're doing on that job, when you've worked there, some of your skills and interests. So we have two different examples. The first up here is this fictitious one for Travis. As you should be able to see, he has experience at Walmart in the receiving and stocking area and McDonald's doing, as he puts, food stuff. Not much detail in here. So I'm sure a lot of you can already tell this is not really a great example of what a recruiter or a hiring manager wants to see. This doesn't tell me much, not much detail and dates. I don't know what he actually does at those jobs. And for references, no thank you. I prefer to give my own is not really an option. So moving forward, you can see an example of a great resume here for Lindsey and some fake positions that we gave her. Also McDonald's, also Walmart, similar positions. But this is great. I can see in the bullet points under her work experience what exactly she does in those positions, the dates that she worked there, schooling, her skills, even activities outside of school. So, volleyball, she's on the Honor Society and she's involved in junior leadership. And in her objective, we can see that she wants a full-time position and she wants to continue down the customer service field. So that tells me as a recruiter who's hiring for customer service type positions, she could be a great option. And I can definitely tell she put in the time and effort to create this resume. So more than likely out of the two, she'd be one that I would offer an interview to. And speaking of interviews, how do you prepare for them? So first off, you want to have the appropriate dress attire, and that can vary. So the general rule of thumb is to dress for the part and be appropriate. So here we have listed a few different things. Um, nothing too revealing, nothing that can be kind of dicey, such as political statements or religious beliefs, as those can turn up some sensitive conversations. Anything that's too flashy or anything that pretty much would distract a recruiter or hiring manager or maybe even offend them. Stay away from all of that.
Yep, and again, with all of you being in high school, chances are you probably don't. But the ATFEM generally are your big hitters of alcohol, tobacco, firearms, anything with explosives. Or the new one is marijuana, which is across multiple states where it's becoming legal. But still, when you go to a job interview, it's not appropriate to wear something like that.
Yes, definitely. So as I stated earlier, dress for the part. So if you are applying for, a higher end business that's going to be very professional, what you see these people wearing in the presentation are going to be great examples of what to wear. If you have more business casual, this might be something, jeans, but still have a nice top, or still look like tried and got ready this morning, but more relaxed. And now with COVID and today's day and age, working from home, a lot of us don't have, any specific dress attire that is required. For example, I'm wearing a nice Americollect t-shirt, but underneath I got sweatpants on. Uh, so that's going to be okay now with working from home. So think about those things when you're applying for a position, what their dress attire is, and try to match that for your interview.
And all of you look very nice and presentable today, at least from what I can see. So thank you for that.
Okay, so now that your resume is done, you've been offered an interview, and you know how to dress, now is the point to actually complete the interview. So similarly to the resumes, we're also going to do comparisons and interviews. I'm going to ask a couple example questions to Travis and then also to Lindsey. And we can talk about a little bit afterwards, comparing them and who would probably be offered a position and who we most definitely would not offer a position to. So to start things off, Travis, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure thing. I was born at a very young age. I've been going to school about the last 10 or so years of my life. It's very customary every Monday morning to wake up, make breakfast, go to school, and do everything the preceding days, Tuesday through Friday. The weekends, I usually play video games. I've got a few siblings. Outside of that, I like sports in school.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about what your career goals are?
Well, I'm in high school now. I don't really know what I want to do. I've thought a lot of different things. My parents are telling me I need to, get a job and get out of the house and do more than just, play Fortnite. So,
Okay. So with high school, you have to balance a few things, work, school, extracurriculars. Can you tell me about how you plan to balance all of that?
well, I do get a little stressed out already with balancing homework and, school, sports. But I figure that maybe I'll just do homework, when I get home. As far as getting the job itself, I mean, whatever hours work. Although on Thursdays I do watch football, so I'll never be able to work on Thursdays.
Okay. Okay, so now that we completed that interview with Travis, why don't we, do the same thing with Lindsay here, ask her some questions, see how she responds, and then we can discuss after. So, Lindsay, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a junior in high school. I have a 3.5 GPA currently. I am on the volleyball team. I also volunteer at my church a couple of days per week. I've worked at McDonald's the past 2 years, and I'm hoping to join the weightlifting team later this school year.
Oh, awesome. That's really exciting that you're interested in so many different things and sounds like you really have a good drive. Can you tell me, with that drive, what are some of your career goals?
Sure. So obviously, my first goal is to graduate. Once I graduate, I plan on attending college. Just from my experience working at Walmart and McDonald's, I really found that I love working with customers. So I'm looking for a career that's more in a customer service type role. Hopefully, I would like to in the future run my own retail store as a store manager.
Awesome. Well, that's really interesting. So it sounds like you already have a lot going on. If you were offered this position, how do you plan on balancing work life, school life, and extracurriculars?
Sure. I put a lot of thought into this actually. Some things that I already do, I have a calendar and a planner that I keep with me all the time. So if something comes up, I can always write it down and make sure that I can make it and be on time for anything that I have planned. I do take a study hall every day as well at school. So I get my homework done at school. So then after school, I'm more free to do some of the extra activities. I never have more than one sport going on at a time. I usually play two sports throughout the year. So this is just a good opportunity to expand my knowledge, get an additional job in a little bit of a different field, still work with customers, and yeah, I that's how I stay organized.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a really good route to go, and it seems like it's working for you so far. Okay, so we completed those two interviews. I don't know if you guys can shout out or have someone put in the chat for us. Who do you think I would actually offer a position to based on those interviews?
The female Lindsay, they say.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you all said that. So definitely, some examples here that you can tell is Lindsay at least even showed an effort. As a recruiter, I understand it's very daunting and scary interviewing, and so you don't have to be perfect, but we have to see that you're actually putting in a genuine effort, and actually coming up with great answers that relate to the questions and. Um, Coming up with examples of your professional life, whether it be school or work, depending on what your career has been so far. Where Travis, you could tell he's pretty lazy. He didn't really care, and he was relating things to his personal life versus his professional life. He didn't talk much about his school or past work experiences.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kylie. So again, recruiting, that's her role. She looks at your interview. She talks to you for the first time. If you are, like a wet paper towel and the answers like I gave, chances are you might never even get an in-person interview with the hiring manager. And that's kind of what Kylie does, is she kind of filters out the good individuals who might have promise, and she kind of weeds out the ones who just maybe don't care or are lazy. So it's really easy to tell, with a conversation and based on what you provide to us. Now, once you get hired, you're in my world, which is the training world, and you need to be trained before you're actually ready to do your job. So let me give you a prime example. When people join me on day one for the first day, I have a pretty good idea based on what they all are doing in their seats, what they look like, how they're reacting. I usually can pick them pretty good. Prime example is, again, nice gal in the middle row. It looks like a black mask on, glasses. You are very, very attentive. You have good body posture. You are someone that I would peg to be a very hardworking person who I have high hopes for right away based on your body language. Gentleman in the front row, gray sweatshirt and blue t-shirt. Yep, you. Hi, how you doing? That really shows me a lot that you're in the front row, right? Because you are there, you are paying attention, you are usually the first people to probably volunteer, which maybe I have you right, maybe I don't. But the thing is, that's what I usually pick when I am talking to people on the first day. So the things to think about is when you get your job, okay, you're going to get trained. A lot of times they're going to show you what you need to do. They're going to train you what you need to say, how you need to react, all of that good stuff. But keep in mind that, the whole first impression thing, there's a lot of things you can do in customer service in a job when you first get hired that requires zero talent. You need to know nothing about the organization, nothing about what you're about to do, but you can do a few things to set yourself up for success right away. Chances are you have a colleague or excuse me, a classmate who's always late, right? No matter what it is, always late. Don't point them out. Don't do anything like that. But just being on time shows a lot. It shows you care. And for gosh sakes, on your first day of work, show up on time. Nothing screams that this person is going to be a problem than being 10 minutes late on your first day of work. Just a couple other things: work ethic and effort. Okay, just try as hard as you can and be willing to give effort to something. Body language is huge. Like I said, just how you're sitting, how you're reacting, how you're sitting in your chair. Those of you, any of you kind of got the low rider when you're in class, like I'm cool, too cool for social studies, right? Body language says a lot, and especially to an employer of someone who is potentially looking to promote the next person. That tells us, a lot of things we need to know. Energy. Are you the person who at 8 a.m. is always like, oh, life sucks, right? Well, we know those people at work, right? That also goes with attitude, passion, being coachable, being willing to do a few extra things, and be prepared. It shows a lot, especially in meetings, especially when we bring you, for assessments. Be prepared, good attitude, energy, show that you care, have good body language. Those are things that you can very easily do without knowing anything about any job. You go in for the first day with a few of these things in your back pocket, and you're going to try and impress someone early on. And that's ultimately what you want to do. Because what happens here is in high school, okay, you've got rules, right? You got policies, and you can possibly break them. You're probably going to be welcome back to class. You might get kicked out of class. You might be welcome back. You might show up late. More than likely, the next day you're going to be welcome back. At an employer who's compensating you and paying you, we take it a lot more seriously. And it's very possible that if you're the person who's complaining over and over, you get that reputation for being a complaining Carl or complaining Candace. You're always the person complaining. Do you know anyone like that in your life who just is always complaining about everything? Who's just not a very positive person? But again, there's whoops moments. And again, when you're in school, they might ask you to leave for that day, or they might ask you to leave for that hour. But if you're breaching company policies, from an employer, it's an unfortunate thing, but sometimes we do have to let people go because they cannot, follow through with things. Being on time, that's a huge one. You would not believe how often people are simply late and think that that's acceptable. If you're late, we can't stay productive. So we're going to find someone who will show up on time. Cell phones are a big one. You have no idea how often we find people, on their phones and doing things like that. We have policies for that. So just make sure that you learn your company policies and you follow through on them. All right. Find a healthy channel to do things outside of work, whether it's exercise, sports, TV, Netflix. I don't know if any of you have any of the other fun streaming services. My wife loves the show Friends. So of course we had to get HBO Max now, but whatever you can do to find a healthy channel to keep yourself, going. There's a lot of times in work where people sometimes get frustrated. Okay. Lindsey and I work together a lot. Not to say that, we get really mad at each other, but sometimes we disagree, which is healthy. So sometimes her and I, if we have a disagreement, sometimes we might craft an email and wait till the next day to review it again and send it, because sometimes we might feel differently overnight. So again, have a positive attitude, learn your company's policies, and set yourself up for success.
All right, so I'm going to switch gears just a little bit, but I'm going to talk about some things that just really don't work in the workplace. Is there anybody in the room named Dan?
No, Dan? Is there a Dan at the school?
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, we know about Dan, as you can see. Everyone's
Heard about Dan.
about him, so we know. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about rumors, or something that we call stirring the pot. So, has anybody ever had a rumor spread about them? I know I have. It's the worst feeling ever, right? Like, nobody likes to feel like they're standing up to leave the room and everybody's talking about their business. Nobody really feels comfortable in that situation. So if you can do anything to avoid it, you shouldn't be talking about others or spreading rumors in the workplace. It makes people lose trust in their teammates. Most jobs that you work at, even if you're working independently, you're part of a bigger team. So you could lose teammates that are really valuable to the team, that help you hit goals, or help just bring a good thing to the workplace. And those people will leave if there's rumors in the workplace. The other thing that can happen is other good employees might feel that they're not going to be valued there because the workplace would accept those types of things. So the best thing to do is talk to that individual. If you heard something about them that you want to know if it's true or not, maybe you should talk to them. Maybe you should just take a step back and say, is this even really my business to know about? And treat others the way you want to be treated. In our workplace, there is really no tolerance for it at all. HR gets involved in those situations. Luckily, it isn't something that comes up a lot because we set that expectation right from day one, and we want our doors to be open as a place where people can work safely and feel good about the job they're doing and not have that anxiety about other people talking bad about them. Some other things that probably don't necessarily have to be said, but there are sensitive topics that shouldn't really be brought up in the workplace. We all have our own opinions. We all have our own backgrounds, but a lot of these things that are listed are things that really shouldn't be brought up. We all know that there's a lot going on in politics, and I'm sure that your parents and even maybe some of you have your opinion about who you feel is the right fit, who isn't, who's driving what or not. Those are things that you should keep outside of work. Other things such as religion or bad language, again, everybody has different experiences and backgrounds, and the workplace is really a place to celebrate diversity and to understand that people have different views than you, but it isn't a place to discuss them. So we're really a workplace that celebrates diversity. All of our best ideas have come from groups of people, like I said, with different experiences, different backgrounds that come from different places. And that's really how we've been able to be successful. So remember that a different and diverse workplace is going to be a more successful company to work for as well.
How many of you are on MySpace? How many of you even know what MySpace is? One. Excellent. Okay.
Oh boy. So as previously stated, when I talked a little bit about how to find a job, and find a company that you're interested in, I told you social media was a great option and a great route. Well, now say that you have been offered the job and you started, social media is now something you want to avoid. So, as it states in the presentation, someone is watching. And no, I don't mean someone is literally there watching you doing whatever you're doing. No, IT, they can see websites that you're accessing, things like that. So if they see that you're on social media, there's going to be some questioning. Some other things that you want to avoid in the workplace are going to be schoolwork and your phone and just handling personal issues or personal things in general at the workplace. Of course, AmeriCollect, we ourselves are pretty understanding. So if there's ever an event where there's an emergency and you need to monitor your phone for a day, we're going to understand that. Things happen, life happens, but on a regular basis, just avoid it. Keep your phone at a distance. You're not tempted. And same thing with school and social media in general. Another thing to avoid in the workplace are relationships. So, how many of you have, been involved in a relationship, didn't work out for whatever reason, and then you had to see said person in school, in the hallways, during classes, or social events outside of school? It's pretty awkward. um, as you can see from Woody here, you probably make those faces when you see them. It's going to be very similar at work, if not worse, because you can't just avoid them when you're in the workplace. You have to work with them more than likely, even if you're not in the same department as each other. As a whole, as an organization, you're going to have to work with them at some point somehow. So it's best to just avoid it. And if you can't avoid it, if something happens, you don't avoid it, make sure that it is agreed upon between the two of you that if things don't work out, that you are going to face each other in the workplace like nothing ever happened and keep it professional.
And I would just like to point out that I do have an employee who works for me, who does have a husband who works here at this organization, and it works out just fine. So moral of the story, get married and love each other forever, and you'll be just fine.
All right. So the next thing that we wanted to talk about was stealing. We've all been learning this from a very young age that you're not supposed to steal, right? So that's pretty basic. But some different types of stealing that you maybe don't even think about, or maybe that you think about first, is more like credit cards or cash or something like that you can grab money out of the register. But there's other types of stealing that you want to avoid as well. So something that you might not even think about is taking a stack of Post-it notes home from your desk. That's stealing from the company. They're only being provided to use at work. So make sure that you're not taking home any supplies. But some bigger ones that you probably really don't think about is stealing and taking credit for somebody else's idea or work. Make sure that you're contributing if you're working on a group project or if it's someone else's idea. It's so fun to give credit to someone else where it's due. So make sure that you're not stealing other people's work or ideas, but also time theft. I know it's so easy to say, oh, it's only a quick 5-minute break. I just needed some fresh air. Make sure that you review the company's policies on how to take breaks. But if you're not working, more than likely you're supposed to be punched out. So make sure you're not having any time theft out there too.
How many of you love food? Yeah, me too. Don't take anyone's lunch because you're going to be really unhappy if someone takes your lunch, which has happened to me before. And it's kind of like the balloon gets left and floated away. It's like your lunch is gone. So, of course, as it relates, we talked briefly about, attendance. Just know that depending on where you are in the life cycle of your work, whether you're in training or whether you're actually doing the job, there might be different expectations. So we'll go through them, when you get hired. So, but the main thing is just show up. It's hard to operate a business if you're not showing up or if you're always sick, right? Now today's standard's a bit different, with COVID and things like that. But there's a big difference of I have a little cough and I can work from home, or I am actually sick, and I just need to rest. And I'm not going to be able to contribute to the work. Because all the things we talked about actually lead up to generally a performance review or a performance evaluation. Lindsey and I, as managers, are actually completing performance reviews for our people right now. And it really is a reflection of everything that they did last year. So really everything you did in a whole picture of the year all then comes into a performance review. So you want to make sure that you have positive things to put on there, because a lot of times a performance review has to deal with also how much more money you're going to make the next year. And depending on how high you perform, depends on how much potential money is available for you when that time comes. So, like, for example, if you look around the room, all of you might work at the same organization. You're all essentially, yes, a team, but you're kind of competing against each other. We're going to rate you from the best to maybe the worst, and whoever the best is might get the most compensation and so on, and whoever is the worst might not get anything. So, it is reality of real life that, there are performance evaluations, and, whether you agree with them or don't, they're there. So, before we get into, because we want to give you some time to learn a little bit about our youth apprentice program. So, Lindsey, why don't you go ahead and take it from here, and then we'll watch the video. Oh, you're on mute.
You're mute, Lindsey.
There you go.
Sorry. How many of you guys like to make money? Like to have money, extra money?
Of course, yes.
But even better than having money, how many of you want to get paid to go to school? I know I would. So we actually have a program that we work with for Youth Apprentice. I'm going to show you right now a couple of items that we also have. Not only do you get paid to go to school, but we also have weekly giveaways. Here are just a few of the items we've given in the past quarter alone. We do a drawing every single week, and somebody has a chance to take these home every week. And all you have to do is do your job. So you can see giveaway of a trampoline, a really cute egg chair. We've given away a PS4. iPads, computers, Bose speakers. Literally nothing is off the table. We have tons of prizes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Youth Apprentice program and how you can join our team. So currently we have 2 Lincoln High School students. You can see there at the bottom. We have Andrew, who's a collection specialist. He works in my department, and he is able to make phone calls with consumers and take incoming calls, helping people set up payment plans, helping to talk about their insurance and their credit file. And then there's Matt. He works in our IT department, and he works along with our help desk, giving support in the technical realm of the business. We're going to share a quick video about what you can expect as a collector at AmeriCollect.
This is Sabrina. She's starting her first day at AmeriCollect as a collector. Let's take a look at the equipment and tools you'll be using to help consumers pay their debt.
Here at AmeriCollect, we make sure that you get all the equipment, knowledge, and training you need to be successful as a ridiculously nice collector. Congratulations! Looks like you've completed your training.
Yes.
Well, let's take a look at all the software programs that you use on a ridiculously nice call.
All right, let's go. Linnea?
Yes.
Linnea DeRocher?
Yes.
Hi, Linnea. My name is Sabrina, and I'm calling from AmeriCollect. I am a debt collector, and my calls may be recorded. This is an attempt to collect a debt, and any information obtained would be used for that purpose. We have a balance of $1,211.50 for a ridiculously nice clinic. Will you be paying the balance in full today with a check or card by phone, or would next Friday work better for you?
I can't pay that amount today. I don't have that kind of money laying around.
I understand. I'm happy to offer you some payment options to help you get this cleared up. We can do payments of $403.84, or with half down, it would be payments of $201.92. Which one of these would work best for you?
Neither. I can't afford that much every month.
Okay, Linnea, let's update your account information so I can see what other options are available for you. Do you get paid every week or every 2 weeks?
Every week.
Where are you currently working?
Walmart in Appleton.
Do you work full-time or part-time, and how much do you make per hour?
Part-time, I make approximately $12 an hour.
Thank you. Does your spouse get paid every week or every 2 weeks?
I'm not married.
Linnea, how much per month is your rent or mortgage?
Well, for right now, I pay rent of $400 a month.
Do you have any children you are responsible for?
Oh gosh, no.
Do you receive any aid from the state?
No.
Thank you, Linnea, for updating your account. It looks like I do have some additional options to consider. This client offers a settlement of 20% off if the account gets paid in a one lump sum payment. That would be approximately $242.30 off. Do you have a credit card you could put the balance on?
No, I really can't.
Okay, I understand. If we go back to a payment plan, the options we could do $242.30,
or $201.92. These will not avoid the account from listing to your credit file as an open collection, but it would be an acceptable payment plan on your account, which is better for you.
The last option.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get those payments set up for you today. Do you have a routing and account number?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll kind of cut it off there. Can I ask the kind of the room quick? So if the retail time, right, in like the retail stores and stuff like that, if the busy time is like Black Friday and Christmas, what do you think busy time for us in collections would be?
We're saying holidays.
Ooh, good thought. Lindsay?
It's actually really close. It's right after the holidays. Actually, it's tax time. So I'm sure that you're knowing from your parents, a lot of people don't always have a lot of extra money to put toward their medical bills. But when they get their tax refund, that's when we work some overtime. And that's when people can normally say, I have a little extra money to put toward this. So we work some extra hours around tax season and help people prioritize their medical bills into their budget from their tax refunds. As you've seen in the video, Sabrina, she's a ridiculously nice collection specialist. She talks to the consumer about different options, lets them know what's acceptable as a payment plan or what might not be acceptable, collects all of their personal information in order to try to find a payment plan that might work best for that person. So they're really doing sales-based collecting and in trying to find that middle ground that works for both us and the client. Some things that we're looking for if this seems like it's interesting to you is obviously someone who has a positive attitude. I'm sure that you can understand not every single phone call is going to be, oh, yep, I'll pay you as much money as you want. Usually people need us to be able to negotiate with them and find something that's affordable. Being open to learn new things. We are a constantly growing company. I always say nothing is ever the same and every day is new because we have different things going on all the time and we're always trying to make improvements. But one thing that's really important that maybe you don't think about is someone who's tough-skinned. And I know I've talked about the fact that not everybody is going to say yes, but having that resilience to say, I might have heard 3 or 4 no's today, but I'm still going to wait and still work hard to get to that yes and to get to that payment. So if it's something that seems interesting to you and you'd like to hear a little bit more about opportunities at AmeriCollect, first thing we'd recommend is talking to your mom and dad, seeing if it's something that they would support for you to do, and then talk to the youth apprentice administrator at your school or with the county. And then also if you have any questions for us or would like to hear a little bit more or job shadow or anything like that, you can reach out to Kelsey Teener or also Kylie, who's on the presentation with us today. Their contact information is there.
Lindsay, thank you very much. And Travis and Kylie, we are about out of time, but we appreciate your time working with our students this morning.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, everyone. We'll jump to the other meeting then.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.